Good morning. We'll get started in just a few minutes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Neil, is that you?
It is. Glad you can
How
hear
are
me.
you this morning?
I'm doing well. I tried to get a profile picture up there, but somehow it didn't work this time.
All right, we'll figure it out. We're still waiting on Meredith, so just hang tight.
So is this just one-way video, or is all the participants able to see each other?
They are able to see each other if they choose. On the bottom left-hand corner, you see where it says stop video. There's a video camera or start video. If you click on that, it will show you live. If you so choose.
Yeah, that is what I was trying to do. I'm working on a new Mac, and
Oh, on a Mac. You got me on that one.
That's all right. I'll see if I can figure it out.
There's Meredith. Good morning, Meredith. You're muted. Do I have to unmute you?
There you go. Good morning. I got
Good
it.
morning. Good morning. It's just right at 10 o'clock, so we'll give it a few more minutes.
Sure.
How are you this morning?
I am good, thank you. It is hoping that it doesn't rain today.
Mm-hmm.
But I went down to Greenville, South Carolina yesterday to shoot a little video, and it was South Carolina's turned back on. So it was sort of I don't know, it was invigorating to be down there.
Good. They got a lot of rain though.
Yeah, I got kind of caught in that storm coming out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, we'll give it about 5 minutes and let everybody come on.
Yes. one more minute. Let's see.
Can you all hear me?
Hello.
Hey,
Yes.
this is
Who
Gail
is this?
Haven. Gail Haven signing in, Asheville Gallery of Art.
Hi, Gail.
Hi. So I'm just curious if you all hear and or see me.
We hear you, but we don't see you.
Okay.
Would you like for us to see you?
Pardon me?
Would you like for us to see you?
Not necessarily.
Okay, that's the beauty of this. You don't have to.
Well, let's see.
On the bottom,
How do I make you see me?
on the bottom left-hand corner, if you'll hover down there, you see
Yeah.
a picture of a camera, a video camera.
Bottom left
It
hand.
says video.
I see a mute my audio.
Okay, there should be right beside that.
No, there's just an upward facing arrow next to that.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
same thing I
okay.
see. It only gives me the mute.
Uh-huh.
All right, only audio for participants. Aha,
Okay.
got
Well,
it. Okay,
That's cool. I've been
Okay.
going to so many Zoom meetings and they
right?
seem to work a little differently.
We're getting really good at these, aren't we? Where I am.
A little bit of Zoom fatigue.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think the difference is, I think the webinar feature, and this may be the webinar, I think the webinar only allows attendees
Audio.
to audio, but the
Yes.
meeting allows them to do video.
Yes.
Well, that's the most important thing, to be able
Right.
to hear you all. I was curious how many participants there are.
Right now there are 26.
Great.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll go ahead and get started this morning with the, here we are. Can you see that?
Yes.
Everybody good? Okay. I want to say thank you. Salute to small business. This is our Asheville Small Business Week. Neil DeQuattro is with us from Wells Fargo, our presenting sponsor, as well as AB Tech Community College, Fast Signs, Nothing Bundt Cakes, and the UNCA Asheville Family Business Forum. And we're so thankful for all of sponsors so that we can put these programs on. Neil, I want to give you a few minutes to chat about what's going on with Wells Fargo.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. You know, as I shared yesterday, we never thought in a million years when we chose to sponsor and when Chamber put together this fantastic event that we'd be facing the headwinds we're facing now. And so again, I do want to thank the Chamber. This is really, really meaningful work. And I want to thank everyone who joined this morning. You know, I don't want to offer any sort of corporate talking points because we're really past that right now. I just want to say this, you know, I'm a leader in the Asheville market, and we're in a season where businesses are afraid, concerned, stressed out. And I see that when I'm helping business customers one-on-one, talking to team members. And we just want to be a resource for you. Whatever that looks like, you know, you take the lead. We want to know how we can help. And one of the resources I shared yesterday is, and I'll put it in the chat so you can all access it, smallbusinessworks.com, or Wells Fargo Works, excuse me, .com. I'll put it on the chat. But it has some great resources around credit, around planning, around marketing. Certainly call in to one of our branches with whatever question you have, whether you're a customer or you're not a customer. We're in this together, and we want to see our small businesses thrive in the United States and make it onto the other side of this thriving and well. And I really, really believe we will. And the seminar today is a piece of giving us the tools to do that. So thank you again to the Chamber for allowing us to sponsor it, for putting this together. It's been a terrific week so far, and I'll hand it back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Neil. Again, we're so thankful that you, Wells Fargo, want to participate with us. It's nice to have collaboration. Yes. Meredith, I'm going to kick it off with you. Our third part in the series, prepare your business for what's ahead. You're going to tell us what to do going forward, I hope.
Yeah, this is how to actually, this one's actually how to transform. the business. As we started at the beginning of this, I was sharing that I had to go to Greenville, South Carolina yesterday. It was sort of exciting because I have not been that far from my house since about since about the beginning of the March. But it was invigorating because there was actually a lot of traffic on the road, and South Carolina has just started to open back up. And one reason I love working with small business and a chamber of commerce is because we are resilient, if nothing else. And I love, despite the odds, that we're ready to get back out there and do what we need to do to pick ourselves up and rebuild our businesses. Some of us listening to this webinar series have been greatly impacted, some mildly impacted, but the one thing I know is that nobody has completely escaped this pandemic. I shared this on the first webinar, but I want to share it again because I think it is important. I made my living as a keynote speaker. 70% of my revenue, at least, was from me getting on a plane, getting on a stage in front of a crowded room and delivering a keynote. My business completely blew up. My revenue is gone for the year. And I want you to know that because that's what put me on the path to really research and study what it's going to take to succeed in today's marketplace. And that is what I'm sharing with you are the exact steps and strategies that I'm doing for my own business. And I am excited to share that in the last couple of weeks, I have started to find the cracks, find the opportunity, and generate revenue for my business again. So I say that to say, I understand where you are. I'm experiencing the same thing. And what I'm sharing is working. So we're going to talk today about transforming the business. And I would guess that one of the questions you have are, can you really work on all three of these webinars at the same time? Can you stabilize, grow, and transform? You can grow and transform at the same time. In fact, I'm going to encourage you to do that. A lot of the strategies that we talk about, those are going to work together. But before you do anything else, you have got to stabilize the business. If you need to go back to that first webinar, go through it, but figure out just how you can take care of the things that are giving you the most stress and the most worry. Because when you release yourself of those, you're going to open the opportunity to really find the path forward. And yesterday's webinar was really beginning to see the crack or the light in the opportunity that's out there. And you know, the very first webinar, I think I talked about prisoners of war and why some survive and some don't. And one of the reasons is because they find the one thing that is working, the one thing that they can focus on. And that's really what we talked about yesterday. But today's webinar is really all about how you have to position yourself to be successful in what's going to be our new normal. The one thing that we know is that the marketplace is not going to be the same whenever we get quote unquote back to normal, whatever the heck that is going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can jump in and talk about a few of these things. All right. So today we're really talking about transforming in a crisis. I mean, who would have thought that a couple of months ago, I'm keeping a journal, so I think I'm at day 55 right now that I've been home. I've been in my house. But who would have thought that a crisis, that a virus could so drastically disrupt our marketplace, right? I mean, businesses have shut down, social distancing is the norm, and we don't really know what our new normal is going to look like that. And it can be a little confusing. It can be hard to believe that success can be possible in an atmosphere like that. But success can be possible. And in fact, that is proven by the research that I have done and we have seen with businesses and organizations that have gone before us. I shared before that the research and things that I have done for this webinar series have been done off a book that I have coming out in the fall called Thrive: Strategies to Turn Uncertainty to Competitive Advantage. And Amy, I will make sure that I send a copy of that book to you as soon as
Yes,
it's ready.
please.
And everybody who participated in the series can just have a copy of the book for free.
That's
So,
awesome.
so it'll be out this fall. But what is so exciting about this book is that it really shows businesses and organizations that have come through war, depression, disease, and economic downturn. And when I started studying them, there is an actual methodology, things that they do differently than other businesses that allows them to emerge successful. And we've talked about some of those with stabilizing your business and growing your business. But now we really want to talk about what they do to really come out the other side, having done incredibly well. People always ask me too, who are some of the businesses that I've researched. Procter and Gamble is one. Brooks Brothers is another. Bush Beans. They've got an unbelievable story that is in this book, and the things that they have done to transform and really not only adapt to the changes that they needed to adapt to, but what today's webinar is really about, being a step ahead. So let's go ahead and dive into the strategies, the steps, the things that you need to be doing to really transform your business and position yourself for success. I think that there is one thing this crisis has taught us. It is just how fragile this marketplace is, that on a moment's notice, things can change. I mean, think about how different our world and our life was in February. I mean, we all came into 2020 thinking we were going to have the best year on record. And many of us, even despite March crashing, still had an unbelievably strong first quarter. And now we sit here basically a month into the second quarter, and we don't know what is going to happen, or what things are going to look like. So the first strategy that you have got to take yourself through if you want to transform your business and take it to the next level is you have to condition yourself for change. Change is going to be something that is moving at a rapid pace and is not going to stop once this pandemic is over. And here's the truth about change. It can be your greatest opportunity if you see it coming. If you don't see it coming, it can flatten you. And you've got to be looking at change and thinking about the changes that are coming in the marketplace. The more you can anticipate change, the more you can see the opportunity in change. And that is where the power is. You know, we have seen it happen with so many businesses that are remaining successful right now. I talked a moment about Brooks Brothers. They've got a plant right up the road here where they stopped making ties and they started making masks. I was listening to the CEO of Salesforce this morning. And what Salesforce is doing is one step ahead of their customers, creating the technology that they're going to need to make virtual sales experiences even better than they were before. So you need to be thinking about the changes that are happening in the marketplace on a monthly basis and asking yourself, what if those changes do I need to be paying attention to? What if those changes could positively or negatively impact my business? And what do I need to be doing to be one step ahead of those changes? You know, we talked a little bit about this when we talked about this in your strategy session, but really what you need to be doing is carving out time on a monthly basis every 30 days. And you need to be getting your team together, or you need to be getting a group of your peers, and you need to talk about what's happening in society, what's happening with competition, what's happening with the economy, with politics, technology, industry, and your customers. And then step away from that and ask yourself, where's the opportunity in that? And where are some of the challenges? What do we need to be aware of that could positively or negatively impact our business. If you're in South Carolina right now and the economy is starting to open up and turn back on, you're going to start to see the patterns of what people are willing to do, the risks that they're willing to take. You can see maybe that some of your competition is shutting down. And what does that mean for you in terms of opportunity? How is the economy going to be over the next couple of weeks? What's going to happen with the elections? You have to condition yourself for change. Change is like a muscle, and the more you work it, the stronger it gets. And that is the key to success and transforming your business, is you have to be good at change. You have to not be waiting for change to hit you upside the head. You need to be thinking about what's coming down the road and really taking your business one step ahead. There's always going to be opportunity in the marketplace, but the only way you can see it is if you're conditioning and strengthening yourself for change. Now, it's not enough to strengthen yourself. You need to be strengthening your team for change. All those staff meetings that you're having, whether they're the people at the C-suite or whether they're people at the entry level, you want people in a branch to change. You want people in a department to change. You want people on your retail floor to do things differently. Get them talking about change. The more comfortable they are with change, the more easy they will move through change. The more ideas they will come up with to proactively drive change. And that is what is going to make the difference. You need to be one step ahead. Procter & Gamble is an unbelievable story in driving change. You can see, and you'll see it when I put it in the book, that every single shift that has gone in the marketplace since they started in business, they have been one step ahead. And they don't do that because they have a crystal ball. They do it because they understand if you focus outside of your business, you'll see the changes coming. And if you see the changes coming, you've got the time to really think about solutions. But more importantly, you've got a team of people that is in shape for the change that is going to happen. And the more conditioned you are for change, the easier change is going to be. So again, this is not a hard exercise. Take 30 minutes a month. Take that one staff meeting and just talk about, hey, what's happening outside of the business? What can we control? What could we impact? And how could we take advantage of some of those opportunities? Now, one of the biggest changes that you've got to get ready for is strategy number 2. The competition, it has become collaboration. The challenges and things that we are experiencing right now, they're bigger than one person can solve. You are going to need to collaborate not only within your organization, but outside of your organization if you want to be successful. Now is the time when the walls come down, and in order to solve and get through this crisis, we as business owners need to start working with each other. Look, we are seeing this happen in our marketplace right now. Grocery stores are sharing supply chains so that they're able to get enough food into the marketplace. Countries are working together to try to get a handle on this pandemic. Well, this doesn't only happen at the national level, it needs to happen at the local level. I've got a healthcare company right now that is working with a technology company because the healthcare company didn't have the right technology to really get their sales team to be able to sell in a virtual way. And the technology company had been working all in the restaurant space, and they needed to diversify into healthcare. So they're working with the healthcare industry to understand how to get a handle into that industry. See, they're taking their strengths and they're working together. They're collaborating to really make it effective. But how do you collaborate? Well, you know, one of my favorite stories around collaboration comes from World War II. And that is that man right there, Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill understood that if we were going to win in World War II, if we were going to defeat the Nazis, then the problem was bigger than Great Britain can handle. So it was Winston Churchill that really worked very hard to collaborate with the U.S. and even collaborate with Russia. Yes. With Stalin. But he didn't go to them and say, hey, what do you think we ought to do? Or what do you think the most important thing is we need to focus on? He already had the question. And the question is, how can we defeat the Nazis? See, people collaborate around a question, and then they find the solutions. That's where collaboration happens. That's why it's easy. That's why it's effective. So you need to decide, what questions do you need to solve for your business to make it to the next level? And then who can you collaborate with in order to solve those problems? If you ask the right questions, you ask the right people, you will get the right solutions. But again, I want to stress that if you want to transform your business and take it to the next level, you can't do it alone. You need the people within your organization to collaborate more than they have ever collaborated before. And the way you're going to do that as a leader is to collaborate them around a question. We need to be more efficient in the next 6 months. We have got to somehow figure out how to remain flat with our growth in the next 6 months. We've got to figure out how to reach new customers or reach new patients. And then how do you collaborate outside the walls of this organization? Amy was talking to me about the fact that the chamber has been holding town halls for people within the same industry. And that's such a great opportunity to be asking the question and getting people to really work together and collaborate. I mean, just think about the fact that if Winston Churchill hadn't had the courage to force collaboration, where would we really be right now? So collaboration replaces competition, and people you have typically thought of as your competition, you need to relax down and start to think about collaborating with. I've got a team of speakers that I work with, and we readily compete for the same speaking events. I've lost to the 3 of them many times, but right now, the 4 of us are working together on a project, pooling our resources to build our businesses and serve our clients. And it's become one of the best alliances I've ever done. So think about collaboration. But that sparks the question of, who should you collaborate with, right? I've got to tell you that this next strategy is my favorite strategy of all the strategies that I have shared with you, because not only because I think it's critical, but because when I started researching the book, as you can imagine, I've researched different businesses and different industries selling different types of products all over the world. Everybody has kind of a little bit of a different path to success. But there were 2 things that the CEOs that I worked with and I interviewed shared. Number one was that the CEO made it his or her responsibility to develop, retain talent, to build the team. They never gave that to HR. They never outsourced it to anybody else. They felt it was their responsibility to make sure that the best people were on their team. They were protective of that. And that was across the board, no matter the organization. But the second was what we're going to talk about next. And that is, they all shared that while they changed their products and services, they never walked away from their core values. Their core values were their guiding principle, their guiding light. I think one of the things that can be so incredibly challenging about figuring out how to transform your business in uncertainty, or even just grow your business in uncertainty, is that there's so many shiny objects out there, right? There's so many things that you could do, that you hear about, that you almost get so busy you can't possibly be productive. So how do you decide who you're going to collaborate with? And how do you decide what you're going to do and what you're not going to do? Well, it all comes down to your core values. Those are your guiding light. They're your North Star. They're your litmus test in any kind of crisis. If people and strategies align with your core values, then they're a great step to take. If they don't, then you've got to let it go, or change your core values. But rock solid, the businesses that I researched were always very true to their core values, and their core values are what pulled them through. Now understand, I said core values. I did not say product, because one thing you're going to see when you get a copy of the book is nobody still sells the same product exactly as it was that they sold back when they started the business. Why? Because according to the marketplace, by conditioning themselves for change, the products and services have had to change. If they were going to be one step ahead, they've had to change. But how they deliver them, how they offer them, who they were before the crisis, during the crisis, and after the crisis, that always remained the same. One of my favorite stories is about Brooks Brothers. And two of their values are to be, number one, to be relationship focused on their community, building connection and being of service. The second is to be innovative, to be a step ahead and to be providing what their community and their customers need and want even before they need and want them. So, you know, we all know Brooks Brothers. Brooks Brothers makes ties and shirts, and what they really started out making was men's suits, because you know, that's what was needed, was a good but inexpensive suit in the marketplace. But during the Civil War, they pivoted and they started making uniforms for the Army, because they wanted to be of service, perfectly aligned with their values. And they wanted to be innovative, one step ahead. Now, they didn't make a lot of money selling uniforms, but that is what carried them through the Civil War and got them through to the other side. So transforming your business is really about saying, what are our core values? And if you aren't clear on those, you need to go back and get really clear on those. And then you need to use those values as a litmus test. I had shared a story about an events company that I've been working with, and just like me, their business blew up as well. They put on large sporting events with convention centers and things like that, and they're really doing some very innovative things. They're looking to merge and acquire a few companies, and the way we look to decide which companies we're going to merge and acquire is we run them back through the values and the litmus test, how we've decided which employees to keep and which ones to lay off, or we've decided to keep the ones that most align with our values. When they think about going out and collaborating with other organizations and companies, we run it back through the values and run it back through that litmus test. There is no way to know what's coming in an uncertain marketplace. So you're really flying blind. And it's hard to know what to take advantage of and what to pass on. But again, what these companies have done is have used their core values really as their inner light. And that inner light has guided them on the right path to the right journey to put their company where it needs, where it needs to be. So one of the other things that you really want to do with your values is focus your values on which customers you choose to work with and which customers you let go of. We talked a little bit yesterday about really engaging and talking with your customers because they're really going to give you the path forward. You also have to have the guts to fire some customers that don't align with where you're going and where you're going to be. Your business is going to be different on the other side of this crisis. And as you get the clarity as to where the business is going, you have to make room for more of the customers you need. And the only way to do that is to let go of some of the customers that don't fit the mold. Now, I know that can be challenging because we're all just desperate for any kind of customer right now. But the truth is, if you follow the strategies that I've laid out, you're going to get to a point where protecting your time is more important than ever. And you've got to understand that engaging and trying to serve that customer that takes far too much of your time, is not profitable, and does not align with your values is going to prevent you from developing the products and services that are going to take your business to the next level so that you can deepen relationships with customers that really, truly align with your values. One of the greatest examples of listening to the voice of the customer has been Procter & Gamble. They have been one of the most fascinating stories for me as I've researched this book. But they they have made it one of their chief core values to listen to their customers. And that is how product development has been guided with Procter & Gamble. In 1941, they put in a toll-free hotline. 1941, where customers could call in and give feedback and give ideas as to what they liked about products and what they didn't like about products. And then they spent a lot of time really talking to customers about what they're going through and what they're feeling. So when the Great Depression hit in the 1930s, they were one step ahead, where they'd developed a lower level of products and services that people could use in their homes, that typically women at that time could use as cleaning services, but they were far more affordable than they ever were before. In the times of World War and the Civil War, they switched and produced more soap than they had ever produced before, because that was one of the hardest things to get during those times. When women started going back to work, they were again one step ahead, because they were developing products and services that made it easier for women to do what they needed to do in the home with much less effort. So what I want you to think about when you think about securing your base and firing customers and deepening those relationships is, as much as you can engage, as much as you can talk to that real right customer, you can start to hear the things that you need to hear to really start to take the business to the next level. And you can be one step ahead of really what your customers are thinking and what they're feeling. But we've got to have the courage to let go. If you want to transform the business, you've got to realize that to get to the next level, not everybody's going to be able to go with you. And that's okay, because where your business is going to serve a particular type of customer. And the better and more intimately you know them and understand them, the better and stronger your business is going to be. So what could possibly be left? We've got one strategy. We've got one strategy left to transform your business and really take it to the next level. And this one is pretty important, but I want to emphasize that everything that you've done until this point has really gotten you prepared for this last, strategy. And this last strategy makes sure that you remain flexible, that makes sure you remain nimble, and make sure that you are able to always be one step ahead, but that you're not getting caught in being so committed to the products or services or the ways that you do things that you're not willing to let go and move on. Because that was really something else that these organizations really shared, was the fact that they didn't have their ego wrapped up in the products or services or even the locations and how they served their customers. They were willing to let go of things that didn't work anymore. And I'll tell you, the businesses that didn't survive are the ones that can't let go. Maybe I'll do that book next. That would be interesting too, is why don't businesses survive? Or maybe I'll include that a little bit in the beginning of this next one. But the last strategy is to shed fast and keep moving. Some things that you put in place are going to work. Some things that you put in place aren't. And maybe not because they weren't a good idea, but because the marketplace moved so fast, or something changed. Something changed in the marketplace. I mean, think about this. We all have all these plans in place right now about how we're going to do business as business opens up. But imagine we fast forward 3 weeks from now, and fingers crossed, and things are going much better than we anticipated. And customers are more willing to do some things that they weren't willing to do before. Then our strategy needs to adjust, and it needs to change for that. I've been interviewing and talking with a CFO who is in the airline space. And talk about an industry that has been really hit hard. I think she told me that they lost 90% of their revenue is down for the year. Anyway, they came through 2008 pretty well, and they built a contingency plan in 2008, and they implemented the contingency plan as soon as this pandemic hit. But they've updated and changed that contingency plan 21 times since this pandemic hit. Why? Because that is how fast the marketplace is moving. That is how much stuff is changing. You better believe that as soon as the Civil War was over, Brooks Brothers quit making uniforms and shifted back into making suits as the country, as the country went back to work. And Procter & Gamble, the same thing. When the demand for soap wasn't there, they let it go and they moved on to other things. So you have to be looking at your strategy on a quarterly basis and really asking yourself, what's working, what isn't, what do we need to let go of, and what do we need to be doing differently? Because you're in a constant state of transformation. If you want to take your business to the next level and you want to make sure that you are that one step ahead. So there is your roadmap for day 3. You've got to condition yourself for change. I want you talking about change, thinking about change, engaging your employees and your team in talks about change all the time, because the more comfortable you get with it, the stronger you're going to be. And the stronger you are, change is going to put you in the power seat for change. And that's where you want to see. None of us could have seen a pandemic coming, but those organizations that were able to move quickly, that really had their teams engaged, they moved through this so much faster. And I think the change after this pandemic is over, it's just going to get more rapid. So you need to be talking about it. You need to think about collaborating versus competing. You've got to understand that in order to keep your business going, to get it to the next level, this challenge is bigger than you. And you need the people inside your organization working more cohesively than they ever have. And you need to be collaborating with partners outside of your organization. And the only way to do that is to ask the right questions. You got to get clear on your core. If you are not clear on your values, go back, get clear on your core, and then use that core as a litmus test. Every decision you are going to make, pass it back through your values. Does it align? If it does, move forward. If it doesn't, let it go. Secure that base and deepen that base. Really spend time intimately getting to know those customers and really work to solve their problems, and ask yourself, who needs to get off my roster? I mean, you don't literally have to fire them, but don't be spending your time and your energy there. And last but not least, shed fast and keep moving. I'm a strategic planner by training. And when I first started writing strategic plans, we were told to make sure they were updated every 5 years. Last year when I went to get my certification, they told us to update the strategic plan every quarter. I'm expecting this year, and when I guide my clients this year, I'm going to tell my clients to update their strategic plan, to look at it at least on a monthly basis, to really ask yourself if what we're doing right now is still viable in the marketplace. The products and services you sell may make it through this crisis, they may not, but the core of who you are as a business will be there. And if you're open to changing what you sell, but leave in place how you sell it, you're going to come out of this crisis really, really successful and really in a position to transform your business and really take it to the other side. I just want to say, I realize that this isn't easy. I mean, I'm going through it as well, but the steps that we really talked about, before to really stabilize the business, do what you need to do whatever you need to do to make sure that your business is here for the next 3 to 6 months. Then I want you to really think about, where is the crack? Where is the opportunity for growth? Because there is opportunity for growth. I'm finding that my customers need some things right now that I can provide that is actually starting to morph and change my business. But then I've got a goal for where I want my business to be in the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm using that transformational model that I just gave you to really move my business there and come out on the other side of this really, really successful. Again, if we have not connected, I would really consider it an honor if you would reach out and connect with me. Amy, I'm going to turn it back over to you, but since this is our last webinar, I'd love to know if you just put in the chat, what's one change you're going to make and how and when you will make it. I'd love to hear that from people. So put it in the chat and that'd be awesome.
Well, we're waiting to see if anyone actually will participate. Sometimes people get shy.
People
Don't be
are shy.
Put it in. Now's your chance. Meredith, I do want to thank you for your honesty. I feel like when you say this is what you're doing for your business, it really is what you're doing with your business.
It is.
You can tell that yours, I'm sure, because you need to travel. You can't even travel to get to a place to say what you need to say. So I really appreciate your honesty of this. We're all in this together, and we do need to collaborate and help each other out.
We really are. I am amazed as anybody that it's really starting to work. That I really have followed these steps and really followed these strategies, and it really has, my business has started to come back, and I'm in a business that really shouldn't have started to come back. I don't think this quickly. And I guess if I want anybody to take anything from this, is that I realize that it looks like the odds are so stacked against us, but I hope what I've given you is the strategies to put you in a little bit of control. And if you take these steps and just move forward with them, that your opportunity is going to come from progress, and the progress is going to ensure that you find the path forward.
Sure. And the awareness that needs to be there, that you're going to take one step forward and you might take one step back. And that's where you realign, relook at things, make that step forward. You got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
So no one jumped up.
No one jumped up, but we do want, Asheville Art Gallery are working on online sales and using more technology in our gallery.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Nice. Small bakery with a Southern baker husband. What to do? Convince him to make some videos, possibly shed. Yeah, I'd love that. There are some of the really innovative and creative things that smaller businesses, are doing with video and with messaging and really being there in the community. I know that I'm buying weekly from a small bakery that started a little delivery service, and they're doing soups and meals and things like that. Lisa, your strategic planning is now weekly, and you'll plan to do that until this new normal is settled in. Then move towards a monthly review. We typically rely on tourist and retail sales, switching to online sales as our primary source of sales. Lisa, let me know when you do that. The chocolate fetish, please make a big announcement. Do what we talked about in the beginning. Right. Communicate. Because I certainly will be buying. I'm looking for presents and gifts and things to send out to some people that are hiring. So it says they can't see all the chat. Would love to hear what others are doing. I'm kind of reading them, off, but there are just some really creative things that people are doing. I really want to thank the Chamber for this. I want to thank Neil for sponsoring this again. That is so unbelievably generous and kind to do something, because when we can't do in person, you lose a little bit of your ability to plug Wells Fargo, and just really appreciate Wells Fargo stepping to the plate and being a true citizen and support of this community. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, absolutely. Lisa from the Chocolate Fetish, I want you to go back to our website, ashevillechamber.org. We did a workshop video of how to open a retail online, and the panelists were Ginger from Poppy Popcorn, as well as the ladies that run Soul Coup Jewelry, and they had some really good thoughts about how to push things online. For example, Ginger pared her products, the line down a little bit. She only offered a few things as opposed to trying to offer everything. So go back and take care of that, or take a look at that. You'll get some great ideas from that.
Yeah, Sarah chimed in from Silverback Beverage here and said, since we cannot sample demo, we are considering massive promos and discounts. Do you think that's a necessary strategy right now in general? Price discounts, free options. I think that it is. I don't think massive though is necessary. What I've done with a lot of my products and services is just kind of bundled a few things together and given just a small discount for somebody to try it out and to to give it a little bit of a try. But within a certain amount of time, it goes back up to the to the full price. So I don't think you need to go, I don't think that you need to go massive. And I would really, Sarah, I'd really encourage you to get either your peers together, if you've got a team, get people together and brainstorm about, since the sample and the demo is gone, what are all the crazy ideas that we could come up with that we could replace this piece? And you might just be surprised at what you might come up with. Nicole said, we're offering a curated collection of our private group experiences virtually to family, friend, and corporate teams looking for creative ways to connect while we're all apart. That is brilliant at Asheville Wellness. Elisa's offering online products right now, reduced to meet the current demands in the current workforce. Thank you. Again, these webinars have been helpful and showed the support of building business using local outlets and experts. And Glenda said, I'm personally reaching out to talk with our top 20 guests to see how they're doing and listen. Awesome, Glenda, because you're going to find the solution in that. Thank you a lot for playing along. That means a lot to me. And this is really, really great stuff. And again, I believe build your network, change your life. So if we are not connected, please reach out.
Great. Thank you so much again, Meredith. Thank you again, Neil. Thank you to all of you. I'm going to say it again. The webinar that we had a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember exactly, on how to open and support an online store. Ginger and the ladies from Soul Food had some really good advice. So be in touch. If I can help you, ajackson@ashevillechamber.org. Anything we can do at the Chamber of Commerce, we are so thankful for all of you and look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Meredith.